Thinking is the foundation of every success, every failure, every joy, and every sorrow in your life. Correct thinking is not accidental, it is deliberate, practiced, and disciplined. If you desire to change your life, you must first change the way you think. Today, I will show you 20 truths about how to think correctly. Truths that can transform the way you approach every challenge and every opportunity. Thinking correctly begins with clarity and purpose. A mind that knows what it seeks will always find direction, while one that is uncertain will wander aimlessly. Defining your goals is not simply about writing them down, it is about feeling them deeply, seeing them vividly, and holding them steadily at the center of your thoughts. When you train yourself to concentrate on a single purpose, every decision becomes easier, every distraction loses power, and your energy aligns naturally toward progress. Clarity creates momentum, and momentum builds success. Guarding your mind is equally vital, for what enters your thoughts eventually shapes your life. Every conversation you entertain, every story you hear, every image you allow into your imagination plants a seed. Some seeds grow into strength, others into fear, and it is your duty to choose carefully which ones to nurture. Correct thinking requires constant awareness, an inner discipline to refuse thoughts of complaint or blame, and a commitment to seek solutions even in difficulty. Instead of asking why something cannot be done, the right question is always how it can be achieved. Focusing on possibilities rather than limitations transforms the way you perceive challenges. Obstacles are not dead ends, but invitations to grow stronger. When you ask yourself empowering questions, when you practice gratitude for what is already in your hands, and when you separate truth from mere opinion, your mind begins to operate from a place of strength rather than weakness. Even failure loses its sting because it becomes feedback, a stepping stone toward greater understanding. Correct thinkers welcome mistakes as teachers and treat every setback as preparation for a greater comeback. Discipline in thought also involves managing emotions and controlling self-talk. The quiet conversations you have with yourself every day either build your confidence or quietly erode it. Speaking with intention, affirming your own abilities, and imagining possibilities that do not yet exist strengthen your mental muscles. A calm mind makes better decisions, and a disciplined mind turns vision into action. The ability to pause, reflect, and remain steady in the midst of chaos is one of the greatest strengths of a correct thinker. Finally, correct thinking is not a single lesson to be mastered once, it is a lifelong journey. It requires daily reflection, feeding the mind with uplifting knowledge, and surrounding yourself with people who challenge you to rise higher. Patience is essential because great results do not appear overnight but are built through consistent effort and unwavering belief. As you refine your thinking day by day, you shape not only your future but also the person you are becoming. Train your thoughts, and you will unlock the extraordinary potential hidden within you. Guarding your thoughts is one of the greatest responsibilities you have toward yourself because everything that enters your mind carries the power to shape your destiny. Every conversation you engage in, every story you listen to, and every image you allow into your consciousness leaves an impression. Some impressions strengthen you and push you toward growth, while others quietly weaken your resolve and plant seeds of doubt. Correct thinking requires you to become a gatekeeper of your mind, allowing only what uplifts, inspires, and moves you closer to your vision. When you recognize the value of your thoughts as you would recognize the value of treasure, you begin to choose them with care and protect them from anything that could tarnish them. Each day, your environment offers countless influences, both positive and negative. The people you spend time with, the media you consume, and even your daily habits silently contribute to the narrative you hold about yourself and the world. If you are careless with these inputs, negativity will find its way into your thinking and grow without your awareness. But when you choose wisely, surrounding yourself with ideas, voices, and influences that empower you, your mind becomes fertile ground for success. You cannot always control what comes at you, but you can control what you nurture and allow to stay. Correct thinking is deliberate rather than accidental. It demands that you pause and examine your inner dialogue, asking yourself whether each thought you hold is building you up or tearing you down. When you identify thoughts that weaken you, Replace them with thoughts that strengthen your resolve and remind you of your purpose. This simple habit, repeated consistently, rewires the mind toward optimism and determination. It teaches you to transform doubts into possibilities and fears into opportunities for courage. The process also requires patience, for thoughts do not change overnight. The seeds of negativity may have been planted years ago, and it takes conscious effort to uproot them. Daily reflection, silence, and moments of gratitude are powerful tools in this process. They clear away mental clutter, allowing you to see challenges more clearly and respond with wisdom instead of impulse. Over time, this discipline creates a calm inner strength that is unshaken by outside noise. When you guard your thoughts with such care, you set the foundation for every other form of success. A mind that is well protected becomes a powerful ally, guiding you toward your goals and shielding you from the distractions that derail others. By choosing what to allow into your mental space and what to reject, you reclaim control over your life's direction. The treasure of your thoughts, once guarded and cultivated, becomes the greatest wealth you will ever possess. For the remainder of your life, the thoughts you hold most often are the quiet architects of your life. Without realizing it, you become the product of the ideas you repeat to yourself daily. For the remainder of your life, where mind constantly dwells on limitation, you begin to behave in ways that reinforce those limits, accepting less than you are capable of achieving. But when your thoughts are filled with possibility and determination, your actions naturally align with those visions. The direction of your life is not shaped by chance. For the remainder of your life, it is shaped by the dominant patterns of thinking you allow to remain in your mind. Every action you take begins first as a thought. Even the smallest decision, like the choice to speak or remain silent, starts with an internal whisper. Over time, these whispers become habits, and habits become the character of your life. This is why negative thinking is so dangerous. It quietly creates behaviors that lead you away from success without you noticing. Correct thinking is not about ignoring reality, but about focusing on what empowers you to move forward instead of what holds you back. The subconscious mind does not argue with you. It accepts what you feed it. If you repeatedly tell yourself you cannot succeed, your subconscious accepts it as truth and influences your behavior to make it real. The opposite is also true if you affirm that if you are capable, resilient, and deserving of success, your subconscious begins to seek ways to prove you right. This is why it is vital to monitor your inner dialogue, for it has the power to shape the opportunities you recognize and the risks you are willing to take. Over time, dominant thoughts carve deep pathways in your mind, much like water carving a river through stone. The more you repeat a thought, the stronger and more automatic it becomes. At first, it may take deliberate effort to replace old patterns with new ones, but persistence turns those new patterns into second nature. As you begin to think differently, you will notice subtle changes in how you react to problems, how you approach goals, and even how you carry yourself in daily life. To create the future you desire, you must first master what you allow to dominate your thinking. Hold close the images of the life you want, repeat them often, and allow them to guide your choices for the remainder of your life. When positivity and purpose fill your mind more than fear and doubt, the results you create will reflect that shift. Your reality is, and always will be, for the remainder of life, a mirror of your most persistent thoughts, so choose them with care. Complaining is one of the most subtle yet destructive habits a person can develop. It begins with small remarks about inconveniences or frustrations. But over time, it shapes an entire mindset that constantly searches for what is wrong rather than what is possible. When the mind is conditioned to complain, it loses its creative power because it becomes focused on the problem instead of seeking the solution. This habit drains energy and discourages the spirit, keeping you trapped in a cycle of dissatisfaction without ever moving forward. Correct thinking requires a shift from blame to responsibility. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" a correct thinker asks, "What can I do about it?" This simple change in perspective transforms your life because it places the power back in your hands. Complaining surrenders your control to external circumstances, while responsibility reminds you that your response determines your outcome. Even in situations where you cannot control what happens, you can always control how you interpret it and how you choose to act next. The energy spent on complaints can be redirected into creative action. Every minute you spend pointing out problems is a minute lost that could have been used to build solutions. Progress comes only to those who channel their emotions, frustrations, and observations into constructive behavior. A person who trains themselves to look for answers rather than dwell on difficulties develops resilience and becomes someone others naturally turn to in times of challenge. This shift not only improves personal outcomes but also inspires those around you to rise above negativity. Breaking the habit of complaining does not mean ignoring reality or pretending everything is perfect. It means acknowledging what is wrong without letting it dominate your focus. Instead of allowing difficulties to drain you, use them as fuel to improve your skills, strengthen your patience, and clarify your priorities. The challenges you face are often the very opportunities you need to grow, and by choosing not to complain, you allow yourself to see them from a higher perspective. Over time, eliminating complaints transforms your inner world. You begin to see opportunities where others see barriers, and your mind becomes sharper and more solution-oriented. People who once found comfort in negativity may drift away, while those who share your vision will draw closer. This quiet but profound transformation will not only help you achieve your goals, but also bring you peace of mind, because you are no longer wasting energy on what cannot be changed, but building a better future with what can. Concentration is one of the rarest yet most valuable abilities you can develop. In a world filled with constant noise and endless distractions, most people allow their attention to scatter across countless tasks, leaving them exhausted yet unaccomplished. Correct thinking demands the discipline to direct your mental energy toward one purpose with unwavering focus. When your mind learns to shut out the unnecessary and hold tightly to a single objective, even the most difficult goals become attainable because all your resources are aligned in one direction. A scattered mind wastes energy on details that do not contribute to progress. It begins tasks but rarely finishes them, jumping from one idea to another without building momentum. Concentration, however, gathers every ounce of thought and emotion and channels them like a beam of light toward the result you seek. This is why those who master focus often achieve in months what others fail to accomplish in years. By narrowing your attention, you amplify your power. Developing this ability requires practice. Begin by removing distractions during important tasks. Silence the noise, clear your space, and set clear time boundaries. Train yourself to remain present with what you are doing, resisting the urge to split your energy. Over time, your mind becomes stronger, able to hold complex ideas and sustain effort without wandering. Like a muscle, concentration grows with repetition and deliberate use. The greatest breakthroughs in history were born from minds that refused to be scattered. Innovators, leaders, and visionaries all share this quality, the ability to fix their thoughts on one idea until it takes form. They do not abandon their goals at the first sign of difficulty. They persist, adjusting and improving their approach until the vision in their mind becomes reality. This is the silent power behind all significant achievement, unwavering attention sustained over time. When you master concentration, you gain control over your destiny. Distractions no longer pull you away from your purpose. Instead, every thought, decision, and action aligns with your highest goals. The world may still be noisy, but within you there is clarity and focus. With this power, even the most ambitious dreams become possible because you have trained your mind to direct its full strength toward what matters most. Thinking in possibilities rather than limitations is the cornerstone of progress and personal growth. When most people face challenges, their first instinct is to see what cannot be done, listing reasons why the obstacle is too large or the situation too difficult. This mindset locks the door on opportunity before it can even appear. But when you train yourself to shift your focus from what is missing to what is possible, you ignite creativity and open pathways that others fail to see. Possibility thinking is not about ignoring reality, but about refusing to be trapped by it. Obstacles are inevitable in life, yet they are rarely as final as they appear at first glance. Many of the greatest achievements in history began as problems that seemed impossible to solve. The difference was not in the size of the challenge, but in the perspective of the person facing it. A correct thinker sees an obstacle as a signal to grow stronger, to innovate, and to rise above limitations. This mindset transforms difficulties into stepping stones that lead toward mastery rather than walls that block progress. Training your mind to think this way requires conscious effort. Each time you encounter a difficulty, ask yourself different questions. What can I learn from this? How can this situation benefit me in the long run? What new opportunities might this be pointing toward? The quality of your questions determines the quality of your answers. When your thoughts are directed toward possibility, your actions naturally follow, and you begin to notice options that were invisible to you before. Possibility thinking also inspires resilience. When you view every challenge as an opportunity to discover new strengths, setbacks lose their power to discourage you. Instead of giving up at the first sign of failure, you persist with curiosity and determination, knowing that every barrier contains a hidden lesson. Over time, this habit builds confidence because you prove to yourself repeatedly that you can handle whatever comes your way. This confidence becomes a quiet force, guiding you through future trials with calm assurance. As you continue to think in terms of possibilities, your entire outlook on life begins to shift. You no longer feel trapped by circumstances because you understand that there is always another path, another angle, another chance to succeed. This mindset not only leads to personal breakthroughs, but also inspires those around you to rise higher. People are drawn to possibility thinkers because they bring light into dark moments and hope into hopeless ones. By choosing this way of thinking, you transform both your own life and the lives of everyone you influence. For the remainder of your life, mastering the art of self-questioning is one of the most powerful tools for developing correct thinking. For the most people go through life accepting every thought that crosses their mind without ever examining it. They allow old beliefs, fears, and assumptions to guide their decisions for the remainder of life, unaware of the quiet influence those thoughts hold. But when you learn to pause and ask yourself, for the remainder of your life, does this thought strengthen me or weaken me? You begin to take control of your inner world. For the remainder of your life, this simple question separates that serve you from those that sabotage you and creates the space to choose a better response. For the remainder of life, every thought carries energy, either constructive or destructive. A constructive thought builds confidence, encourages action, and aligns you with your goals, while a destructive thought feeds doubt, procrastination, and fear. By questioning your thoughts, you uncover patterns you may not have noticed before. For the remainder of life, you might realize that a single recurring idea has been quietly holding you back for years. Once you bring it into the light, for the remainder of life, you gain the ability to challenge it and replace it with something empowering for the remainder of your life. This process is not about ignoring negative thoughts, but transforming them into lessons and opportunities for growth. Self-questioning also helps you separate truth from assumption. Many of the beliefs you hold about yourself or the world are inherited from past experiences or influenced by others. When you ask, "Is this absolutely true?" you often discover that what felt like a fact is merely a perspective you adopted long ago. For the remainder of your life, this allows you to reshape your mindset and build new beliefs that align with the person you are becoming rather than the person you used to be. It is through this kind of mental inquiry that real personal evolution begins. Practicing this skill consistently will change how you handle challenges for the remainder of your life. Instead of reacting impulsively to fear or frustration, you begin to pause and evaluate. You ask yourself whether this thought is leading you toward your purpose or pulling you away from it. You consider whether it motivates you to act or convinces you to quit. This moment of reflection creates the space for intentional choice. The difference between being controlled by your mind and controlling your mind. Over time, for the remainder of life, this habit makes you calmer, wiser, and more deliberate in every area of life. Asking the right questions transforms your entire outlook for the remainder of your life. When you develop the discipline to challenge thoughts that weaken you and replace them with ones that strengthen you, you unlock an inner power that cannot be shaken by outside circumstances. The quality of your life improves because the quality of your thinking improves. You begin to approach every situation with clarity and confidence, trusting that you can handle whatever arises. This is the quiet mastery of correct thinking, a daily practice of questioning, refining, and choosing thoughts that build the life you truly desire. The people you surround yourself with quietly shape the quality of your thinking. Without realizing it, You absorb the beliefs, attitudes, and energy of those closest to you. If you spend your time among people who complain, doubt, and resist growth, you will find it harder to maintain a mindset of possibility and progress. But when you choose to walk alongside those who think with vision, positivity, and ambition, their energy fuels your own, and you naturally rise to their level. The company you keep is not just a reflection of who you are, it is a preview of who you will become. Correct thinking thrives in an environment where ideas are nurtured rather than ridiculed, where dreams are encouraged rather than dismissed. Being around uplifting thinkers inspires you to expand your vision because they see beyond current limitations. Their conversations spark creativity, and their example challenges you to aim higher. In their presence, your own doubts lose power because you are reminded daily of what is possible. This type of environment is not accidental, it is something you must seek out and intentionally cultivate. Surrounding yourself with uplifting people does not mean they agree with you on everything. In fact, the best companions will challenge your assumptions and push you to think more deeply. The difference is that their challenges come from a place of belief in your potential rather than from cynicism. They ask questions that help you grow, not ones meant to tear you down. Through this kind of healthy exchange, you learn to sharpen your ideas, strengthen your resolve, and approach problems with new perspectives. As you grow, some relationships may naturally shift or fade. This can be difficult, but it is a necessary part of aligning with the life you desire. Not everyone will understand your vision, and that is okay. The goal is not to force anyone to join you, but to remain committed to surrounding yourself with influences that encourage progress rather than sabotage it. By creating an environment filled with supportive and driven individuals, you give yourself the best possible chance to succeed. Over time, this circle of uplifting thinkers becomes one of your greatest assets. They celebrate your victories, help you navigate setbacks, and remind you of your purpose when challenges arise. Their belief in you strengthens your own belief in yourself. As you contribute to their growth and they contribute to yours, a powerful synergy forms, creating an atmosphere where correct thinking becomes second nature. In this space of shared ambition and encouragement, greatness is not only possible, it becomes inevitable for the remainder of your life. Most people go through life believing everything they hear, often without questioning whether it is fact or merely someone's opinion. This unconscious acceptance creates confusion because opinions are colored by personal experiences, emotions, and biases, while facts stand independent of interpretation. For correct thinking requires the discipline to pause and examine what you are told, to separate what is proven from what is assumed. Without this habit, for the remainder of your life, you risk building your decisions and even your future on foundations that may crumble under closer scrutiny. For the remainder of your assumptions are especially dangerous because they often feel true simply due to repetition. When you hear something enough times, for the remainder of life, whether from people around you or from your own inner dialogue, it begins to feel like reality. Yet feelings are not proof. For the remainder of your life, a corrector challenges even long-held beliefs by asking, is this supported by evidence, or is it simply what I have been taught to accept? This question opens the door to clarity and allows you to make choices based on reality rather than illusion. Separating facts from opinions also requires humility. For the remainder of your life, it means being willing to admit when you do not know something and having the courage to seek the truth rather than settling for easy assumptions. Many people cling to opinions because they are comfortable, but growth often requires stepping beyond comfort into honest inquiry. By doing so, you not only strengthen your thinking, but also gain the confidence that your decisions are rooted in something solid. The practice of verification is simple yet powerful. Before believing a claim, ask yourself if it can be supported with evidence or firsthand experience. Look for sources you can trust, question emotional reactions, and compare multiple perspectives before drawing a conclusion. This habit prevents you from being misled by fear, rumor, or exaggeration, and it cultivates a mind that is clear, balanced, and less reactive. Over time, this clarity becomes a powerful tool in every area of life, from personal relationships to business decisions. When you consistently separate fact from opinion, you gain freedom. You are no longer swayed by gossip, manipulated by fear, or trapped by false beliefs. Instead, you see reality as it is, which allows you to respond effectively and wisely. This clarity brings peace of mind because you trust the ground you stand on. With this skill, your decisions become sharper, your confidence stronger, and your ability to navigate life's challenges far greater than those who rely on assumption alone. For the remainder of your life, silence and reflection are among the most overlooked tools for mental discipline, yet they hold immense power to transform how you think. In a world that constantly demands your attention, your mind becomes cluttered with noise, opinions, and endless distractions. Without moments of stillness, it is easy to lose touch with your own inner voice and direction. Taking time each day to sit quietly allows you to clear away mental chaos and reconnect with what truly matters. This practice creates space for clarity, focus, and intentional thinking, which are the hallmarks of a disciplined mind. When you allow silence into your daily routine, you begin to notice thoughts you were previously unaware of. Many of your fears, worries, and assumptions operate just below the surface, subtly influencing your decisions. For the remainder of your life, reflection brings them to light, giving you the opportunity to question and reshape them. This process of self-examination prevents impulsive reactions and helps you respond to life's challenges with wisdom instead of emotion. Over time, these quiet moments become a source of guidance, offering insights that would have been drowned out by constant activity. A disciplined mind cannot exist without deliberate training for the remainder of your life, and silence provides the perfect environment for that training to occur. Just as the body needs rest to grow stronger after exertion, the mind needs stillness to process information and form new connections. During reflection, you strengthen your ability to focus, calm your emotions, and align your thoughts with your larger goals. Even 5 minutes of uninterrupted quiet each day can dramatically improve how you approach problems and make decisions. For this practice is not about escaping reality, about preparing yourself to face it more effectively. By clearing away distractions and reconnecting with your values, you cultivate resilience and inner balance. You become less reactive to external chaos because you have built a calm center within yourself. The challenges no longer feel overwhelming because you have trained your mind to turn to clarity and focus, even in the midst of difficulty. With consistent practice, silence and reflection evolve from a simple exercise into a way of life. You begin to seek stillness, not just in quiet rooms, but even in busy environments. For the remainder of your life, carrying a calm wherever you go, this state of mental discipline gives you the ability to think clearly under pressure, remain focused on your priorities, and maintain emotional control in stressful moments. In mastering this skill, you gain not only sharper decision making, but also a deeper sense of peace and purpose. What you feed your mind directly shapes the quality of your thoughts, and in turn, the quality of your life. Just as the body thrives on nutritious food, the mind thrives on ideas that uplift, inspire, and challenge it to grow. When you immerse yourself in books, speeches, and conversations that awaken possibility and courage, your thinking becomes sharper and your vision clearer. These positive influences plant seeds of creativity and determination that continue to grow long after you've encountered them. For the remainder of your life, over time they form a mental foundation that supports you during challenges and pushes you toward your highest potential. For the remainder of many people underestimate how much their daily input affects their mindset. They consume negativity from media, gossip, or fear-based narratives without realizing the quiet damage it causes. These influences slowly build doubt, fear, and hopelessness, which then color their decisions and behavior. Replacing this with uplifting material isn't just a pleasant habit, it is an essential form of mental protection. By choosing carefully what you allow into your mind, for the remainder of your life, you guard your inner world against influences that drain your energy and replace them with ideas that fuel your growth. Exposure to inspiring material does more than just lift your mood. It changes how you see yourself and what you believe is possible. For the remainder of your life, stories of perseverance remind you of your own strength. Words of wisdom offer guidance when you face uncertainty. Powerful ideas expand your imagination and encourage you to think beyond limitations you once accepted as permanent. The more you feed your mind with such content, for the remainder of your life, the more naturally you begin to think in terms of solutions and opportunities rather than problems. This habit also creates momentum. Each uplifting idea you encounter builds on the last, gradually reshaping your inner dialogue. Instead of questioning whether you can succeed, you begin asking how you will succeed. For the remainder of life, instead of fearing failure, you begin seeing it as a necessary part of growth. This shift in thinking is subtle at first, but becomes profound with consistency, influencing not only your goals, but the way you carry yourself in daily life. Ultimately, what you feed your mind determines the life you create. By making the conscious choice to fill your thoughts with material that inspires rather than drains, you give yourself the best chance to live with purpose and courage. Over time, for the remainder of your life, you will notice that challenges feel less overwhelming, opportunities feel more abundant, and your inner confidence grows stronger. For the remainder of your life, this is the quiet yet powerful result of consistently choosing to nourish your mind with uplifting ideas. For the remainder of your life, controlling your emotional responses is one of the clearest signs of maturity in thought. Emotions themselves are not the enemy. They are natural signals that alert you to what is happening within and around you. The problem arises when those emotions, unchecked, begin to dictate your decisions. Anger can push you into words you regret. Fear can paralyze you from taking opportunities, and envy can cloud your vision with resentment. Correct thinking does not deny these feelings, but learns to pause, observe, and respond with intention rather than impulse. This ability begins with self-awareness. For the remainder of your life, the moment you feel a strong emotion rise, train yourself to notice it rather than immediately react to it. Ask yourself why you are feeling this way and whether acting on that feeling will lead you closer to your goals or pull you further away. This small pause creates space between stimulus and response, allowing reason to guide you instead of raw emotion. Over time, for the remainder of life, this habit strengthens your humility and calm. Even in high-pressure situations, calm thinking does not mean a lack of passion or intensity. It means channeling those emotions in ways that serve you. Anger, when transformed, can fuel determination to make things right. Fear, when examined, can highlight what truly matters and prepare you for growth. Even envy can be turned into inspiration when you shift from comparing yourself to learning from others. For the remainder of life, mastery over emotions does not eliminate them, but redirects their energy toward constructive outcomes. One of the greatest benefits of emotional control is the impact it has on decision making. Wise choices are rarely made in moments of extreme emotion. By staying composed, you can see situations more clearly, evaluate options more rationally, and act in alignment with your long-term vision rather than short-term impulses. For the remainder of your life, this calm approach earns respect from others and allows you to lead yourself and often those around you through chaos with steadiness. For the remainder of your life, practicing emotional control daily transforms not only your inner state, but also your relationships and results. For the remainder of your life, people are drawn to those who remain steady under pressure because they provide a sense of security and trust. Opportunities often come to those who can be relied upon to stay level-headed when others panic. In mastering your emotional responses, you gain more than control over yourself. For the remainder of your life, you gain influence, clarity, and the ability to create outcomes guided by wisdom rather than by fleeting feelings. Failure is often misunderstood as the end of the road, when in truth it is simply part of the journey. Every misstep holds valuable information about what does not work, or they're offering insights that success alone could never teach. When you treat failure as feedback, you remove the shame and fear surrounding it and begin to see it as a necessary step toward mastery. This perspective transforms setbacks into lessons, making each one a stepping stone rather than a stumbling block. Viewing failure this way allows you to approach challenges with curiosity instead of dread. Instead of asking, or why did this happen to me? You begin to ask, what can I learn from this? That single shift in questioning changes everything. It keeps your focus on growth rather than regret and prevents you from repeating the same mistakes. Over time, this habit builds resilience because you no longer see failure as evidence of weakness, but as proof of progress and effort. The people who achieve the greatest success are rarely those who never fail. They are those who refuse to stop after failure. Each attempt, whether successful or not, sharpens their understanding and brings them closer to the outcome they desire. By analyzing what wrong, making adjustments, and trying again, they turn temporary defeat into eventual triumph. This is how progress truly happens, not through avoiding mistakes, but through learning from them quickly and effectively. Failure also builds humility and patience. It reminds you that growth takes time and that mastery is earned, not given. These lessons strengthen character, teaching you to persist even when results are not immediate. Correct thinking embraces this process, knowing that every difficulty is preparing you for greater opportunities ahead. In fact, Many breakthroughs come only after enduring repeated setbacks, because each failure removes what does not work and refines what does. When you adopt this mindset, fear of failure loses its power over you. You stop hesitating, stop overthinking, and start acting boldly, knowing that even if you fall, you will rise wiser than before. This courage to keep moving forward despite uncertainty is what separates those who achieve extraordinary results from those who settle for mediocrity. By seeing failure as feedback rather than finality, you transform every challenge into a teacher and every setback into an invitation to grow stronger. For the remainder, the way you speak to yourself shapes the way you see yourself, and over time, this inner dialogue becomes the foundation for your actions and decisions. For most people are unaware of how often they feed themselves words of doubt and criticism, quietly undermining their own confidence. Correcting requires intentional self-talk, speaking words that uplift, guide, and strengthen you even in moments of uncertainty. For the remainder of your life, when you deliberately affirm your abilities and potential, you train your mind to believe in possibilities rather than limitations. Self-talk is not about pretending challenges don't exist. It is about reminding yourself that you are capable of overcoming them. When difficulties arise, the words you choose internally can either calm your fears or magnify them. Saying to yourself, "I can handle this," creates a very different emotional state than saying, "For the remainder of your life, this is impossible." Over time, the repeated choice to speak encouragement to yourself builds resilience and courage, making you less likely to quit when things get hard. The subconscious mind listens to every word you speak, whether out loud or silently. It does not question whether those words are true. It simply accepts them and acts on them. For the real life, this means that repeated affirmations of strength, confidence, and capability slowly reshape your beliefs and behavior. For the remainder of your life, by intentionally choosing words that reflect who you want to become rather than who you fear you are, you align your thoughts and actions with your highest potential. For the remainder of your life, practicing intentional self-talk also helps replace old negative patterns with new empowering ones. Whenever you catch yourself thinking something discouraging, pause and reframe it into a thought that motivates action. For example, shift, always fail at this, to I am learning how to succeed at this. These small corrections, repeated consistently, create a profound shift over time, changing not only how you think, but also how you show up in the world. When positive self-talk becomes a habit, it transforms the way you approach life. You stop waiting for external validation because you have learned to validate yourself. Challenges feel less intimidating because you trust your ability to handle them. Success becomes more attainable because you constantly remind yourself that you are worthy of it. By choosing to speak to yourself as if you already possess the strength and wisdom you seek, you naturally grow into the person capable of achieving everything you desire.